Welcome to BW People HR Voices. HR Voices is a platform that brings the best insights from national and international HR leaders and the innovators and founders from the biggest HR tech companies. Now, let me introduce our guest for today. We are joined today by a true innovator in talent acquisition technology, Mr. Sudarsan Ravi. Hi, Sudarshan. Sudarshan is the founder and CEO of RippleHire. RippleHire has fundamentally transformed how companies find and hire quality talent. What began as a pioneering employee referral platform, RippleHire has evolved into a comprehensive AI-powered talent acquisition cloud that serves over a million users across more than 50 countries while making recruitment effortless, human, and delightful. RippleHire works around the philosophy that technology should solve not just processes but behaviors too. Sudarshan created RippleHire in 2012 and has done some phenomenal work promoting equitable hiring practices and combating recruitment fraud through ethical AI applications. Welcome on our show, Sudarshan.
Oh, Bilquis, thank you so much for having me. I look forward to having an interesting chat.
It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Please tell us about your journey and how did you start this work?
Sure. I used to implement PeopleSoft systems as part of Deloitte, and I quit Deloitte in 2011, and I ended up working in an employee or trying to build an employee engagement company. After a quick 8 months, failure came very quickly, from the highs of Deloitte to the lows of failure. I then put my feet up and I said, listen, I'm not going to build something that, is an idea out of my head. I ended up working with several HR and TL leaders. And we started by solving a problem saying it's not too much to, expect one employee to give you one candidate in 1 year. And if we solve that correctly, we can end up transforming how hiring does. That ended up being a category creating product in employee referrals. And then about a decade back around this time, Emphasis sat us down and said, you've done PhD in one small area. All the underlying tech is broken. Are you willing to go on a journey? And with their help, support, and the support of several TA leaders and large enterprises, today we have grown into a pioneering TA cloud solution that cuts across about 50 countries now. So that's a
Thank
little bit about us. Still learning, still feel like a
yeah,
newbie in this world of era of AI, but excited about the change.
that's really good to know. I want to ask you certain questions about technology. And first of all, I want to understand the adoption and integration of technology. Indian enterprises are becoming heavy users of HR technology. How do you think that technology helps in achieving a deep daily integration with complex hiring workflows? And what sets you apart from the crowded applicant tracking systems in the market?
Yeah. Um, See, let's first understand hiring is, we always say talent acquisition leaders are expected to deliver hiring outcomes.
That's
But
true.
both candidates on the outside and employees, hiring managers, interviewers on the inside are not in their control, right? So, and if you look at the number of handoffs that happen in hiring, right from a job getting approved to it going out to it getting sourced to then them getting interviewed, there are various different folks that are involved in this hiring supply chain to then finally get a candidate who accepts an offer and then spends time with them to get the documentation, the verification, and them hired. Now, technology has become a huge differentiator in helping organizations completely map out this funnel. About a decade back, a lot of tech was about, you know, some processes just about offers being given out. But today, customers of RippleHire come to us because they want a full funnel. And what sets us apart? See, I wish I could tell you it was feature A or feature B or, user experience. But what I've come to realize is that I think most products in HR tech, unfortunately, are marketing and sales led. We are customer success led. What gives me the most joy is that 17 customers over the last 5 years have won the Brandon Hall Awards. It's considered the Oscars in the world of HR and TA
Oh,
based on the transformation they've co-created. So this is not, hey, I have a system, I've adopted it. It's the fact that I have a system, I've adopted it, I'm able to make change, and I'm able to improve my joining ratios. I'm able to improve my source mix. I'm able to contribute to the top line. And just to share, our lowest candidate experience score on the platform is about 4.69 on 5 across all implementations. So what differentiates RippleHire? It's not features, and that's how people evaluate it. It's the fact that when you implement an ATS, it's like a marriage, and we respect, trust that relationship, and ensure that it is a definite success, right? And that's what drives us. That's what keeps us going, and that's probably our core differentiator now.
Fantastic. I now want to ask you about the role of AI in shaping the recruitment processes. AI and automation are often cited as the future of HR, right?
Right.
How are you leveraging AI to not only automate, but to truly transform the talent acquisition for large enterprises?
Sure. So, see, unfortunately, the world of HR or TA has been hearing, and especially hiring, has been hearing about AI for a good 8 years.
Right.
The reality is that true AI kicked in only 2 years ago, right? Which meant that there is generally a little bit of skepticism about new age tech being just, a marketing label on top of what's already there, right? And that's just how the ecosystem has been sold to. So if you look at how we use AI, a couple of years ago, we realized that AI was truly effective now. And right from being able to create a job, right, through a co-pilot, to not just look at the job role from an equitability standpoint, from a inclusion standpoint, from a conciseness, from bringing the brand voice in, we realized we could also bring it from a multilingual standpoint. Like, think about it: a recruiter who's sitting in India, who has to help his team out in Spain, is not a Spanish expert, but AI actually helps them put out a bilingual job description very quickly. Then let's look at the next step. There is an absolute power. And one of our customers ran a survey. 94% recruiters came back and said they love the fact that AI helps them shortlist. So now you're not imagining, or you're not running through hundreds of resumes. You're
Right.
looking at the top 10, top 15, and then pushing it through. You think about as another problem, right? I mean, we want to give a great experience to candidates. And if you want to give a great experience, one of the most critical things is how do you personalize? And AI can absolutely help you hit the ball out of the park. And lastly, this is a pet project of mine. Can we help identify, early warning, or build an early warning detection system so that AI can tell you exactly which candidates are likely to join, and more importantly, the ones who are not going to join. So you can then go ahead and, focus on the others, so you can then deliver hires on time to business and earn credits and kudos, right? So several different problem statements, but these are just a few simple examples of how we've leveraged AI across the board.
Fantastic. There's another buzzword in the HR communities, the HR landscape, which is agentic AI. Uh, how has agentic AI, RippleHire's agents, have evolved from being workflow helpers to autonomous hiring assistants?
Great. Um, and absolutely right. A lot of people assume agents equal to workflow. Thank you for calling that out. So I'll just, when we looked at the entire agentic AI space, one of the things we thought about is, what is it that, you know, recruiters can't practically do?
Yeah.
Right? Like, for example, there are cases where a company, you get fake companies, fake experience letters, fake education certificates, and they're all available for an easy price, right?
Yeah.
And every company has, been burnt badly and has a huge database of people they don't want, of companies and experience, folks or education folks that they don't want to hire from, right? But can a recruiter practically look through every resume and know the difference between an Infosys and an Info SIS? I mean, it's practically not possible. And it's an ever growing list of fraud. So we realized, can we apply an AI agent to this problem statement? I mean, we are fortunate, last year about 86 million candidates hit our platform. So we have the power of big data, and we were able to apply that and say, as soon as a resume hits, we're able to flag and say, here are candidates that are, you know, that have a fake university experience or a fake hiring experience. Now think about it as the second problem statement, right? Typically, recruiters have to go into an interview and say, "Hey, I just joined." Take a quick screenshot, store it somewhere, and somebody has to manually check. So what we realized is, can we eliminate fraud and impersonation? So the agent autonomously goes as soon as an interview is done, it auto records the interview. After the interview, it goes, grabs the recording, runs it through a sequence of AI checks, right? Whether it's face AI, voice AI, does an ID check, and then not only that, it compares across interviews because no one human being sits through every interview, right? Which means it's able to provide a comprehensive report at the end. And on our platform, it's able to go ahead and say, please don't make an offer. There is a risk here, right? And somebody has to manually step in and help. So the fact that the AI cuts across all of these is a huge help. But that's just a couple. We have a way more building up, and happy to share. We're on the process of launching a two-way AI interview agent that's coming out this month, which means you can eliminate the entire problem statement of having the first round of interviews being done, especially because what's happening is candidates are now tailoring their resumes. So there is a increasing amount of junk coming in, and this is across geographies. So what people say on their resume to what they have done, the say-do ratio is falling because of AI. So we see an
Okay.
AI agent can go evaluate and get you the right results, thereby getting, human beings to evaluate only the best fit beyond just, what's written on a piece of paper. So,
Fantastic. So from agentic AI, I want to ask you now about the recruiter's role. With
uh-huh.
the AI automating the repetitive processes, how are the recruiters' roles changing? And how do you support the upskilling of these recruiters, ensuring that HR teams are still relevant and they are not obsolete?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, boards, boards across the country and across the world are demanding CHROs and CXOs to become AI native.
Yeah,
That's the reality of today, whether it's RippleHire or any large enterprise, right? So if you're listening to it, your company board is talking the same. Now, the question then becomes, who takes that responsibility on? I mean, we see leaders talk about the fact that there is an important mindset change that's required, and it is important for human beings to adopt it. But what we realize is that as a technology provider, we own that responsibility to help our customers become AI native, right? Because at the end of the day, they're living in our platform. And if we are able to help them with a sequence of agents and a sequence of AI events, then you know what? We can return time. I don't think people realize that recruiters kill most of their weekends trying to make it work. And people think recruitment is an easy job, but it's really hard finding the right talent for the right hiring manager. And how would the role change? Our first focus has always been about helping a recruiter do more. And from a training standpoint, from a product standpoint, if we're able to embed more and more agents in the flow of work that they do, then we believe we can return quite a bit of time to them so they can then focus on an authentic conversation with the candidate. Bilquis, human beings have to elevate our standards. You know,
absolutely. Yeah,
when we ran tests of our AI interview agent, Amy is very patient. Amy doesn't judge a candidate, does not interrupt, lets people finish conversations, you know, and we realize candidates are more comfortable talking because they realize it's more conversational. There is no uh,
absolutely neutral.
absolutely. And the
Yeah,
point is, you can even program it to be empathetic. So now the question really becomes, what differentiates you when you're picking up the phone, right? So I
yeah,
think it's ultra critical that as humans, we elevate the conversation. We elevate, trust building is hard with a machine. You can feel listened, but you will not trust. Fortunately, switching a job is a big decision in somebody's life. And it is something that, because it's a high impact, high trust, decision. The good part is, as human beings, we have to step in and build that. Uh, a substandard conversation will just not do. They're more likely than not, you will have more time because of AI to be able to do more justice. But that's how I see that evolving as well. So.
Fantastic. Now we know that your services are present in almost more than 50 countries, in fact. So, how do you leverage the unique demands of Indian market to build ATS solutions that can completely, work for global markets, especially competing with the US and European, technology providers?
Oh, a great question. So, um, because see, fortunately for us, we
Yeah,
started with a large enterprise, and they exposed us to hiring challenges in 30 plus countries. And because we started large enterprise and we had their trust, we were able to build the right frameworks.
yeah,
Now, today, over the last 4 to 5 years, we compete. And when we work with large enterprises, you bring in, they don't really look at technology from a geography standpoint. They look at it from a global hiring standpoint. And it's natural that we compete with all the top players, right?
yeah,
Whether it's HRMSs like Oracle, SAP, Workday, or talent acquisition players that serve large enterprise. Our win rate's been about 90-95% on a consistent basis. And that's because I think being out of India and serving the global market, we are able to solve two sets of problems really, really well. I think we're able to solve for compliance, workflow, and experience that global markets require. And we're able to solve for fraud, junk, volume that emerging markets require.
yeah,
And when companies evaluate us globally and we do these demos across, you know, 30 countries, leaders from different regions rate different products. And the fact that we have exposure to both sections, right, and have built the product to solve both use cases means that invariably we end up bubbling to the top. Of course, we have to fight that the innate bias that if we are from India, like most Indian products, we would understand India, but not necessarily global hiring. And fortunately for us, given that we've been compliant for, I guess, over 8-9 years now, and have been and started with referrals, which was essentially about employees, which required a strong compliance framework to begin with, meant that we're able to transcend and replace some of these biggest giants very comfortably in about 50 countries plus today.
fantastic. That's really good to know. You briefly talked about data privacy and compliances. So, how keenly, you're working on the sensitivities of handling data and building trust with the enterprise clients and maintaining the, and also compliances. When we talk about compliances, how keenly you are following the regulations when we
Right.
talk about data.
Right. So I think DPDP is kicking in India. Before this, we had the Australia data protection law kick in. In the US, 14 states require comp ranges, and that's changing. New York has a AI, law that ensures that you have to follow a equitable hiring practice. Europe is going in that direction. I think when we built the product, and I credit several chief information security officers who helped us with this. We built out two different frameworks. We built out a TA hiring framework and we built out a compliance or a privacy framework. Now, a privacy framework requires you to have data retention by region. It requires you to look at, consent, and consent means different things in different regions, by the way.
Absolutely.
It requires you to think about, how are you interacting with candidate data?
Yeah.
How do you ensure, and enable candidates right to forget? How do you ensure that, you're something as simple as the fact that if you don't give out an offer letter with the right compliances followed, including the number of languages it needs to be in, you're putting yourself under huge risk because each of, hiring is not a workflow category at all. It's a compliance category, and having a privacy by design framework is almost critical. And in fact, any companies that are out there that is building their own hiring ATS, one of the things I encourage them to think about is if you don't have the right partner and you automate the workflows, tomorrow a candidate can go sue you And the fines are, 15 million, and DPDP is prohibitive. It's about 250 crores, and it's directly connected to your top line. So it's really not a
Wow.
technology problem anymore, right? You need to solve, and you need to be abreast with all the changes that keep happening. So, given that we're a product, given that we serve so many different large enterprises, we keep a tab on all of these changes. And I'm happy to share, I think Facebook or now Meta and all these large players requested 1 year from Europe when GDPR kicked in 2018. And on 25th May 2018, one day before the law kicked in, we were ready. So I think as a product, we've been in that compliance space for almost 9 years now. And we keep tracking, monitoring, and upgrading so that we can help our customers adapt to these changes really, really fast. Right. So, but yeah, great question. It's a big change, and fingers crossed, DPDP execution also happens and we're not able to, we expect a lot more enterprises will need a dedicated hiring platform product, especially with the amount of change in AI and compliance that's going on. And of course, candidate behavior is changing in a big way in the world too.
Great. Now, my last question to you is about future.
Uh-huh.
Looking at 3 to 5 years from now, how do you envision the partnership between AI and human recruiters evolving? And what is the unique role that HR tech will play, especially like if I may ask that what role with RippleHire will play in shaping that future?
Oh, we have a deep responsibility to shape that, and to shape that well. So I think the easiest way to think about this right now, like for example, anytime there is a new product that or a new wave of disruption that kicks in,
Yeah.
there are tons of point solutions that come up. In fact, every week somebody's pitching an AI interview solution to me.
Yeah.
And that's not just me, that's every professional in this country is getting inundated with all of these new tools that can. So the way I see this is on the short term, I think a lot building will become a lot more easier. But what companies will realize is for it to be meaningful, you need all structured and unstructured data. By that, what I mean is you need all interactions that you have to mandate and are required to do because hiring is a highly audited category and a compliance oriented category, as well as interactions that are happening outside the ambit, right? Think of it as interviews, conversations, calls. All of them will give you a 360 holistic view. And companies that are sitting on broken systems with each of these silos will truly never become AI native. I mean, of course, it's a check in the box. Hey, I tried this with 50 candidates. We have used an AI agent. But is that going to leapfrog your ability to compete on talent? Is that going to help you leapfrog? And I keep telling everybody that talent acquisition is one of the most critical functions in an organization. Think about it, because in your
Absolutely.
org too, every single job role that you put out impacts top line or bottom line. That is the only reason a company puts a job role out. And if we have the ability to differentiate, become AI native, and help organizations help the hire the absolute best through an integrated AI native flow, I think we will end up doing a huge jump to our companies. But that's not going to happen. Now, a lot of leaders will look at short term solutions because they have to show they are becoming AI native. But some of them will realize their current process is broken, their current systems are broken. And
Yeah.
the ones who make that jump are the ones who will truly benefit from the next wave. And as regards RippleHire, I think we look at it very simply. It's very exciting for us. Talent acquisition has three core levers: technology, services, and data. AI is transforming services with technology and almost replacing services with technology. And the line between technology and services is blurring very heavily.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as the core plumbing in an organization, we see the ability for us to help our customers with AI-led offerings to replace a lot of these services so that they can give an integrated holistic experience. I mean, beating 4.69 on 5 is very hard, but if we have to give our challenge to our product teams to say, how do we elevate that candidate experience even further? I think we will then, truly be able to leverage AI to transform a candidate's experience from a great feeling to assurance to and author a stronger willingness to join. So they come into a company. Long answer. I
Oh,
think
that
the
was
future will write
fantastic.
itself, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
very comprehensive and very well said. Uh, that was a wonderful conversation and wonderful insights for all our viewers. It was lovely to have you with us today, Sudarshan. And we look forward to meet you in person sometime very soon. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, Bilquis, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all the good work you're doing in helping educate our entire ecosystem on what's progressive and the path forward. So,
Thank
take
you.
care. Bye
Thanks.
bye.
Thank you. Bye.